If the droopiness of your eyelids have caused you to rethink eyeshadow or rethink how you apply eyeshadow, then I've got a video for you. Today I'm going to share with you my updated eyeshadow routine and really focus in on the tools that I use because that has made the biggest difference of the way my eyeshadow looks. It's been less about the product itself, far more about the tools that I'm using to place the product, and I'm going to walk you through everything you want to consider when it comes to an eyeshadow look in terms of the size of the makeup brushes and then the placement of the makeup itself. So if you want to create this everyday eyeshadow look for more mature skin, then grab your eyeshadow palettes, grab your brushes, I'll help you decide which ones to use and we'll do this look together. If you're new to my channel, hi, I'm Jody, I'm 55. Think of me as your midlife beauty bestie, where we're going to talk all things makeup. Today we're talking specifically eyeshadow and some updated ways to apply it for your more mature eyes. This is going to be one of the easiest eyeshadow tutorials, but one that gives you really flawless looking results. Side note, a couple things, guys. I have just ordered, I get questions about this a lot, and I can't find this exact one on Amazon anymore. The thing about these is that they're extra long. That's the secret. I did order some extra long ones. They have not come yet. As soon as they come, I'm going to test them just to see if they're kind of the same quality. And if they are, I'll link them down below. But so stay tuned. I think I'll have those tomorrow. So within the next couple videos. All right, the other thing I wanted to follow up with you on, if you saw Thursday's video where I tested the different blushes, and I really liked that lip and cheek combo from Milk, this one, it's in the color Fresh. I put it on with 4 other colors, so it was a little bit difficult to see, but that's what I have on today, just a little on my cheeks and on my lips. I'm loving this, you guys. So if you like this sort of no makeup look for summer, but you do want some flush look to your cheeks and your lips, that's what this is. And I used it both on my cheeks and my lips, and that's all I have on my cheeks and my lips. So again, this is Fresh by Milk. It is a jelly. It feels like Jello, but I really like it. I just put it on the back of my finger and then dab it on my cheeks and my lips. In fact, you can still see on my finger where I did it. It's so pigmented. In fact, after I did that video the other day and I went to wash my face, I didn't have time to wash my face, but I did take a towel and wipe it before I went and had dinner with my husband. And they all wiped off except that one, this one by Milk. So big fan of this one, and it was $24. I just love the size of it, love everything about it. It's my first Milk product that I've tried, and I really love it. All right, let's talk about the eyes. The first thing that you want to do with your eyes, if you're more mature, cover them with a little bit of concealer if you have any discoloration. So whatever concealer you're putting on underneath your eyes, just take a little bit extra on your brush or on your finger. I'm just using this pink one by Maybelline because it's just the one I grabbed. I do think because it's pink, it gives me a little bit more brightness to my eyes. That won't be the effect for everyone, but if you have this one, this makes a really nice primer, if you will, for your eyelids. So I just like to put a little bit on my fingers, go right on top of my eyelids. This works as a primer. It works well if you have some discoloration. It also works well if you tend to have hot flashes and you get a little sweaty. It's just an all-around good cover-up, if you will. And I just like to start with a brighter base to my eyes, and I will just dab that on. You see, I'm not putting it real thick because I do have wrinkles on my eyelids and I don't want to accentuate those. So just a little brightening for your eyelids. Okay, now that we've done sort of the prepping of the lids, here's where the real technique comes in. And this is, I mean, you can apply eyeshadow in a variety of different forms, if you will, to get different looks. Today, I'm going to talk more about the brushes that you want to use and then the placement of the eyeshadows to get an overall natural look. And let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. So as we mature, our eyelid is less and less visible because we've got droopy eyelids, or perhaps you have hooded eyes. So the size of the brush really makes a big difference. And let me give you examples. So when you look at these brushes, the height of the brush is not where I'm focusing my attention. I really want you to look at the width of the brushes because it's the width that helps us get the right look. These are all a little wider for my eye because if I take, and these range in price from, this is a BS Mall, love these brushes from Amazon. This is a MAC, and I think this is probably, oh, they're both MAC. But they're a little wide because when you go to place it on your lid, I don't want to cover up that much. I want to cover about a quarter of my lid. So from the outer corner to the inner corner, I want a brush that covers about 25%. Smaller is better for our more mature eyes to get the look that you're going for. Here's an example of another one. This is too wide. See how much of my eyelid that covers from the outer corner going up? That's almost a third. Too wide for this technique or for an eyeshadow look for our more mature eyes in general. Here's a good example of one that I like. This is by Alter Ego. This is their number 8 brush. Really small in terms of width. So that when you go to place that on your eyelid, see how it just covers that outer eye corner? It doesn't cover too much of my eyelid. That's a nice size brush. Now you may not have this brush, but what I would encourage you to do is when you are online looking for new brushes, or if you are at the drugstore, look wherever you buy brushes, look for one that is more narrow this way. And you don't want the bristles to be you don't want the brush bristles to be too tall. You really want something that looks like this, and then you can see how thin that is, because this not only works well as an eyeshadow brush, it also works well as an eyeliner brush underneath here. It also works well in a pinch for an eyebrow pencil if you need to put on some shadow on your eyebrow. And again, it's not the brand of the brush that matters to me so much as it is the size. For our more mature skin, this is a must-have brush. The other brush that you're going to need for this technique is a fluffy blending brush. Now here's one by Angie Hot and Flashy. This is A503. This is what is considered a fluffy brush. For me, this is a little too big, again, for more mature eyes. This worked great when I was in my 40s, a brush this size, because it covers so much space. But as we have gotten older, we have less eyelid space to work with. A smaller blending brush works better. This is also from Angie Hot and Flashy. This is A506. You can see the difference in the size. I now prefer working with something smaller. So again, when you're looking for brushes, these are two must-have sizes for more mature eyes. They're brushes that we've always used. They're just smaller scale. Again, fluffy brush and a smaller liner brush. Okay, so now that we've got the brushes that we need, the technique is super easy, and you can do this with any eyeshadow palette that you already have. I'm going to use the Urban Decay Naked 2 palette. Oldie but goodie. Many of you probably have this in a makeup drawer way in the back because it has been around for a long time. The reason I selected this palette is because the color story in it is a color story that is very common in a lot of palettes. It's neutral earth tones. I like those tones, especially come summertime. The other reason I like this palette is because they're all mattes. So this is the Urban Decay Naked 2 Basics palette. I think this is still available. If so, I'll link it down below. If not, you can pick up each of these shades individually at the drugstore, or you can find other palettes that are very similar, or maybe you like a more colorful palette. If that's the case, whatever you want to use is fine. The key to this look is you want to have 3 different shades that are all with the same undertones. So for example, for this look, I'm going to use this color. It's my lighter color. I'm going to use this color, probably a mix of these two, and then I'm going to use this darker one. That's all it's going to take to create the look. So to get started, now that you have found that smaller width brush, then you know it's going to work because it takes about a quarter of your eyelid. So you know that's the brush you want. I'm going to take a side of the brush and put it in that darker color. So I'm not putting the brush straight on. I'm really hitting it from the side, tapping off any excess. Then I'm going to put that side right in the outer corner, right at my lash line, press it, and pull it. Now I don't want to pull it past my crease. If you have hooded eyes, you're just going to lift that hood a little bit and press it and bring it up over the hood. If you have droopy eyelids, same thing. Lift that droop up a little bit, put that shadow right there and pull it up. And don't have shadow on your finger because you will leave a mark like I just did. So you want to have something that looks just like that. Now I'm going to use the same brush, go to the other side, so we're doing both sides at the same time. Now, if you want to get more elaborate, you can pull this out a little bit farther. I just don't want that look today. I just want to leave it pretty much on my eyelid because as I blend it and fluff it, it'll come out a little bit past. I like to start with a darker color and then zoom out a little bit and see, did I get the angles the same? And if I didn't, then this is the time to sort of true those up. You don't want to do any blending here. Next, you want to take that same brush. I'm going to just clean it off on a towelette. Make sure that I get all that darker color off. Now I'm going to go to my middle color, which I think for this I'm going to blend these two together on the side of the brush. Just get a nice mix of the two. Tap off any excess. Now I want to place that right next to, not on top of, right next to that darker color. So again, you see where the width of the brush comes in really handy because we don't want to cross over on top of other colors. So you're just going to do the same thing and make a little stripe. Right at the lash line, on the lid, just to the bone. So it should look like that. Take what's left and go on this side. And you'll notice I'm just sort of pulling that on the lid and following my own lid and pulling it up and out like that. I'm not going straight up. I am giving a little bit of an angle out this way to help give a lifted look to the eye. And then the third thing is take your brush, wipe off all of that powder again on a clean towel. And you guys, once you start doing this, it's a lot faster when I'm not in your ear talking. Now we're gonna go back to that same brush, same palette. I'm gonna go with that lightest color. I'm gonna mix them a little. I'm gonna do both sides again because I wanna do both eyelids. Tap off any excess. Now here's where you're gonna go into where you left off with that last color. Go to the corner and cover the rest of it. So you've got a quarter, the dark, dark. The next quarter is a little lighter than the dark, dark. And then this inner half is the lighter color. Does that make sense? I'm getting that right at the lash line. And bring that all the way to the last shade that you put on. So you should have something that looks like that. Same thing here. And you'll notice on the inner corner, I'm really just bringing it up into the crease. Right at the lash line and then stopping where that other color is. So next I'm going to pick up that smaller fluffy brush. Again, this is the BK Beauty A506. Yeah, 506. Ooh, my eyes, I need to put some glasses on. It's that small fluffy brush. And you probably have one like this in your makeup kit somewhere. Make sure it's clean. Then I'm gonna go to the inner corner, softly start blending all that just to make sure there's no lumps or anything. Make sure that's all smooth. Then I'm gonna go out a little bit farther and just softly blend all those colors together. I'm not trying to swipe it like a windshield wiper. I'm just blending away any harsh lines. And since that darker color is now on your brush, you can bring that in just a little bit, but you really don't want to bring it any farther than the halfway mark on your lid. I don't want that darker color all the way in here. I really want to keep this half pretty light. So you're just really blending these colors. I personally just like to make little tiny swirls. You can do whatever feels most comfortable and gives the look that you're after. And then I'll just take it and lightly pull it up and out. But I try not to go any farther past my eyebrow when it comes to my eyeshadow. So if your eyeshadow goes quite a way farther than your eyebrow liner, either extend your brow liner a little bit farther or pick up that eyeshadow so it's not farther than your eyebrow. And just like that, see how nice and pretty and natural that is? You're just really blending the colors so that it looks as though your curve of your eye has a natural shadow to it because it's curved around. Super easy. Anyone can do it. And then from there, you can just go a little bit in the crease if you want. You can carry that crease color all the way over if you want. I'm not gonna do that today because I really wanna keep more of a light, natural look with just a little shadow, if you will. And then blend it just like that. And when you do a look like this, there's really no need for any eyeliner on your upper lids. You certainly could add some if you want. I'm not going to. I am going to go back to that first brush that we used, and I'm going to use the same colors that we used for the middle color. So that middle dark one, not the darkest, not the lightest. And I'm going to put that powder on the very tip of the brush. You know, when we did the upper lids, we put the powder on the side of the brush. Now we're going to put the shadow on the tip of the brush because I want to just create a little bit of a shadow liner on the lower half of the eyes, really to give the eye some definition or some shape to the eye. Just really soft like that. You guys, I will link these products in the description box, but again, you probably have a brush or two that will fit the bill. The key is with our more mature eyes, you just need smaller tools than perhaps you did before. The key to this whole look is the placement of the product, but the size of the brush plays a really big role. For me, I've noticed that the older I've gotten and more, I don't want to say delicate my face isn't delicate, but the more wrinkles I have to sort of work with, then smaller brushes allow me more precision so that I'm not putting products where I don't want the product, like on wrinkles and stuff. It just helps keep those from looking too accentuated. I feel like I need some concealer underneath my eyes. They look a little dark, so I'm just gonna grab that same concealer. I wonder if I forgot concealer today. It would not surprise me one bit. It's just been that morning. You guys have those mornings where you're running out the door and then you look in the mirror in the car. And sometimes the mirror in the car can be like your best friend. And then there's days the mirror in the car, and for me, it depends on where the sun is coming through the windshield. That helps make or break my look that day. But there's some days you'll look in the mirror and go, how did I forget? Concealer is the look today. And then with that, just add your favorite mascara. I'm still working on this Colossal Bubble. I do like it. I tried a new concealer the other day, and I couldn't tell if the mascara had transferred underneath or if the concealer wasn't holding up for me. I'm not quite sure, so I think I'm gonna give it another try today before I really recommend this one to you guys. I do really like the Fireworks by Maybelline. You've heard me talk about that before. Thrive Cosmetics, my absolute favorite mascara. I just am out of that one and waiting for an order to come in. But I do like Firework. I just find that it doesn't transfer, it stays all day, it doesn't clump. A lot of things to love about it besides the fact that it's Maybelline and it's a great price point. But this new Colossal Bubble by Maybelline is worth trying, I think. I'll tell you after a few more days of wear. I'm not ready to give it a stamp of approval because I want to make sure this isn't what transferred underneath my, I mean, it might have transferred, but it might be because that new concealer I'm trying is so emollient that I feel like the best of mascaras might have transferred a little bit because it was just so, yeah, serum-y feeling, the concealer. You can put mascara on your lower lashes if you want to. Well, let's do that today. Why not? Okay, you guys, there it is. Super, super eyeshadow look. You can do it with products that you probably already have. For me, the key as I'm getting older and my eye shape or the extra skin around my eyes have really caused me to change the tools that I use to create eye looks, specifically makeup brushes for the eyes. If you can just drop down in size a little bit, really find the brush that matches your eye width, so that you can get 4 times across, that's the brush that you're looking for. I hope that was helpful. I hope you like this look. It's a simple, easy, everyday makeup look, and you can change it up by just changing the eyeshadow colors with palettes that you already have on hand. If you like makeup tutorials, here's another recent favorite. Check this one out. I'll see you in just a couple days. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.